not that. I don't know. I can't see chat. I'm just trying to pull chat on my phone, but I can't for the time being. So. Oh, hey, Silver King. Oh, gotta mute myself. How you been, man? Good to see you here. I'm just trying to set stuff up, and I'm failing miserably. You know, it's one of those days. Yeah, thank you for coming by. Like, I wanted to get back to doing like my editing streams. Shit. Sorry, I don't have my headset plugged in. You'd think I'd be more prepared considering I was streaming earlier today on Twitch, but no, I'm not. But we got a few timestamps I gotta get through today. I've been getting better, and you're doing better than me. Well, you have StreamYard, so you don't have to pull everything up. You got a more reliable thing than me. Here's the thing: I'm so used to being on Twitch doing live streams. I'll be closing out my Chrome once I get my phone chat working, which it's not. But I already have the intro in play. I gotta cut out a little bit of the end of the podcast to replace it for what you guys are talking about with next time. I'm gonna be editing most of it on the stream because I'm hoping Jaro does get back to me because I want to make the transition just for Jaru's rant this podcast. And I don't know, like, if he wants me to use another Ganon picture or if he wants me to use, like, Obi-Wan or something, since he's an Obi-Wan fan now. So, hopefully that gets all soon. But I do want to edit at least most of this so you guys can see, like, how making lads goes. These are all the timestamps for everything. What I typically do is I watch or listen to the podcast, and I mark down each of the times. And from there, I mark down the times, and then we go to that after I add the intro, because the intro is about like 20-something seconds. So, I already did that. I had to get some audio file to play the Jaru's golf clap. So, I think what I'll do is I'll turn up the desktop audio so you guys can hear it a bit better. Just for this time around. Once I go back to recording other videos, I'll be turning that back down. So, this timestamp is at about 1:29, but it's right after the Jake Long versus Danny picture. So, I'll turn my speaker down so it doesn't echo into the mic until I get my headset plugged in.
Danny Phantom versus Jake Long. I didn't butcher characters' names this time. Yes.
Wow. Golf clap.
Alright, so I think right there will be a fine spot. And then... Did I add the audio track? Thank God I did. I'm amazed at what I do myself now. Boop, boop. Now, there it is. Not that long. Hop, boop. And then we'll turn this up a tad. As long as it doesn't overpower, like, you guys talking, it's fine. Still can't pull it up on my phone. Cooperate with me today. Apparently it won't. So it'll go like this.
Wow. Golf clap.
Imagine if I said Jackie Chan for Jake Long. So,
The American Dragon, Jackie Chan.
American Dragon, Jackie Chan. The stream might get taken down if I record and get footage for the Jackie Chan stuff, but it'll add. Let's go to about 3 minutes and 10. What do I gotta put there?
a character a franchise has already been in a death battle, so it's nice to have a whole. I mean, it's also a new company as well. Nicktoons has finally joined in Death Battle.
I was so confused for a second when he said a comic got killed. I was like, who? When?
Yeah, Esdev versus Grey. Grey Fox,
Yeah.
you know. You're only, mate. Go away. I'm recording a podcast.
Right, that. I gotta come up with a skit for that. That's what that timestamp was. Me, a wizard? That. Do I look like Harry Potter to you? if I'm a wizard and I'm Harry Potter, that means I'm weak as hell, apparently. Oh, Rich is dead. Why did I label that again? There we go.
Well, he seems like a pretty funny character. I liked his whole little rhyming and slang.
Ah, yes, that. And then let's get a nice old face of Richard's old avatar. Wrong one. I always get the X and Y confused. Look at that handsome face. Just look at it. I just have to keep clicking back until my phone says I can open my chat here. There we go. Now I can see everybody. Now I can see chat on my phone. It's a whole lot easier now. That is a handsome face. It's better than mine, I'll say that much. Alright. That's what I should put. There we go. And then, right there is fine. Change the color to make it stand out. Oh no, we're all beautiful. Oh, that's touching. But I wish that was true in my case. So the reason, by the way, all the text is normally yellow is just like that is something just Yang started with, and I thought it just kind of pops out better with this current background. Assuming I'm still the editor of the podcast for the second half of the Death Battle season, I think I'm gonna change up like this layout that we see right now, and of course the intro's gonna get changed. So that'll be something. That's assuming I'm still the editor of this podcast. All right. About 8 minutes in, you guys were talking about the dragon that Danny fought.
They tried to make it seem like Danny and Jake were very even in a lot of places. But my goodness, when they did cover like how powerful Jake's fire breath is compared to another dragon Danny fought, yeah, the firepower Jake disposed was pretty pathetic compared to the ones that Danny can survive or even like replicate, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so that's where I'm surprised you didn't jump in with this name. It was Dorothea, I believe, was the dragon lady's name. You're always gonna be the editor, bro. That's touching. I was actually talking to Billy before I got into the podcast, and he said if I didn't want to do it, that Yang it would be more than happy to do it. But it's like, it's fine. I'll edit the podcast. It's all good. Just don't make me go insane. Okay, here's the problem. I gotta figure out how to spell this. Danny Phantom. Oh, there it is. Got it. Did I spell right on my timestamp? No. Shocker. Sean is bad at spelling. Yeah, that was one of the comments from the Kakashi versus Obi-Wan review. It's like, you're reviewing the research when you can't spell research. No, that was me. I've always been bad at spelling. Doop, but doop. And I like using the impact font the most, because again, it just stands out a bit more. There we go. I tell you though, like, editing these podcasts has been actually very enjoyable for me. You know, I've said this before, and it's, oh, thank you, Saber. It's one of those things where the reason I enjoy it's because of, you know, especially with everything going on, you know, this is the kind of stuff that's been keeping me sane, you know? It's been really fun to do, and, you know, my family supports what I do. They're just like, oh, don't overdo it, Sean. And I'll be like, I'm okay. I think the only time I will ever say no to an editing assignment will be if my girlfriend absolutely needs something. I put her above a lot of things, okay? But can you blame me? I've been with her for almost 6 years now. I don't know. So next, I think I still have a screenshot of the death. You give me great entertainment. That you do. What's funny is that hang on. Where is this?
The analysis. Okay, I can understand just from knowing Jake from the death battle analysis. Yeah, it makes sense why Danny won, and how Danny killed Jake. At first, I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah, Rich sent me this image. So, unfortunately, it's titled image, so I gotta pick the right one. There it is. This'll do. But oddly enough, on the first podcast that I got asked to edit, like, they didn't even know my name really back then. I mean, Saber knew who I was. Billy, not so much. And Jaru's just like, as long as someone does it. At least that's what I imagine he was like. I haven't talked to Jaru that much. You know? He seems like a really nice guy. I knew that coming, Andy. Yeah, it's better than getting the actual footage from the episode because, you know, copyright issues. In fact, in the podcast, you guys did talk about how the first one, like the first ever podcast, got copyright claim because of the footage Yankee Insane did put in there. Here's the thing. I did the same thing when you guys talked about War Machine versus Genos. But what I did was I just changed the color to red so that it would just be altered. So that is there. Yes, we got to plug in the Rich review at about 11 and a half minutes.
Versus Kakashi, like, yeah, that was a great fight. Everything about it was god tier, but the level of investment wasn't as high as this one. That's just me speaking on everyone's behalf, and I won't lie. I've said it in my own review. This episode was pretty damn good. The analysis was.
Yeah, like I nearly cried at joy, with that review. Like seeing how well people responded to it and everything, because it just boggles my mind. First of all, it got over 2,000 views in a day, which I just find absurd. That's something I worked on would get that much attention. And at the same time, I see the comments of people, you know, talking about what they thought of the episode, and it's like, it's really cool to see people who would also enjoy the episode, and also who aren't commenting that the episode's down. You know, we get it, the episode's down. Stop panicking, though. There are other ways to watch it. Me too. I was so wrong. I wish you feel proud. Yeah, I do feel proud of that. I was explaining that to my friend today, and he's like, why are you so proud of something that's on someone else's channel? I'm like, I worked so hard on that review. Like, it took a while to do because I was doing new stuff. We had new images. I tried out 3D text this time around. And I just really thought it came out well. I spelled put wrong and put out. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll add like little text and any images I have to add in. This way, when I go back and add like the footage stuff as well, I won't get taken off for copyright. And B, what was point B again? Oh, B, I can actually work on some of the skits that I have planned in my head. Why do I put a Y at the end of the word put? I don't get it. I really don't. Haboshki. Shit, not that one. Wrong button. And I'm sorry if it's late, by the way, for you, Saber. Like, I didn't plan to do it this late originally, but I had like Overwatch stuff I had to do. Plus, I had to watch the podcast and get all the timestamps, which depending on how long the episode is, that takes a bit. I spelled last long on my timestamp. There we go. All right, so about 16 minutes later. I'm going to 16 minutes. You're a late owl. Ah. You're a night owl. I get it.
Yeah, no offense, Nick.
Do you think he's going to dislike bomb our video?
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Oop. Didn't mean to do that.
Not.
Since I'm not his friend, it won't affect you guys. It'll affect me. Dislike bomb our video.
Yeah, the last podcast actually got some dislikes last time. I assume like the only reason was because it's either A, oh, where were you guys for the other episodes? Or B, will you stop talking about Might Guy versus All Might? It's one of those two. I'm leaning towards the fact that you guys missed the other episodes. That's what I hope it is. Then again, I don't know people that well. Boop. Also, like, I put a note at the beginning, but Bill's audio was a bit loud. Like, absurd. I think his mic sensitivity was a little bit too high, but it's not that big an issue most of the time. But you still gotta point it out to some people who are like, why is this so loud? You know? Right. So about 1935.
Go over it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I mean, it's just further showcasing of the influence that the versus community has with Death Battle these days. And, that's not always a bad thing. Having a kind of drawing a line and being like, just because it looks like a laser doesn't mean it's a laser. And, that's...
Where is that? Adding 15 to that. Oh, I don't really have to worry about that one, this one. Blame Bill for starting with Genesis' War Machine. Also, you got a new mic and turn this volume up. Yeah, it's like, because here's the audio waves, okay? Let me show you an example. In case Bill actually does end up watching this, about what I mean by he's a little higher. And of course, the editing software doesn't like me because I'm live streaming. Of course. This happens from time to time. Not that big a deal. Just reopen it. Well, it's to be expected with the editing program I use, so I'm not too concerned about it. All you guys get to see is the background with me in my little scorpion costume. Yeah. Gee, I wonder what one of Sean's favorite episodes of Death Battle is. Okay, so like, here where it peaks, I know it's hard to see, but this is Bill's audio.
Gentlemen, welcome to the latest
And about...
Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing?
This is like Saber's and Gyro's audio. When it gets this high, it's about peaking almost. So I would advise just like, if he's using like the Blue Yeti that I have, there's like a knob on the back that'll turn it down a bit. Or you can mess around with the OBS settings. Whatever floats your boat. The full kind of accent was that? I don't know. What I do know is that we need to get back to... Ah yes, the idea I have for Boomstick for American Idol. I'd watch that show if Boomstick was on it. Just to hear a redneck singing. And again, that's most country music now, isn't it?
Just because it's a kindred spirit. But no, I digress. I thought that was interesting. The singing from Boomstick. Fun fact: the video failed to get uploaded on YouTube initially because his singing was too close to the original.
Yeah, and I just found it hilarious. So here's what we'll do. We'll go to our fancy layout. We're gonna zoom in, and we're going to get rid of that and that. Go to this face. Look at it closer. And then go up here. Look at that face of Boomstick. By the way, the background for the layout was actually something from Yang the Insane. So I just looked at that photo she used, and that's why it's been the same. It's one of the things I kept from her original edit. Because I didn't want people to feel like it was too far from what Yang was doing at first, because, keep in mind, the first podcast I edited for Last Discussed Death Battle, I didn't know I was going to become the official editor until afterwards. Phone, shut up. Why didn't I turn that down? There we go. I'm done. Sean, stop being dumb. Wait, that's impossible. Alright.
Maybe after Rooster Teeth complained that, hey, listen, now that bot's coming after us, can you fucking fix this yet?
Yeah, it'll take a big influencer or company to really get them to, get their shit together. But, yeah, although that hasn't stopped a lot of reaction videos from getting blocked to the death battles.
I think.
Red Runners. I don't know if Red Runners video is that.
All right, I gotta see if that's still going on. Red Runner. Is it just Red Runner? His channel name? Yeah. And it's not up. Make the note there. I gotta tell you, I'm surprised that this issue of Death Battle taking out reaction videos is still going on. I thought that would be fixed at this point. But it's a bot doing it. It's like, what can they really do if it's just gonna keep this up? I think I spelled that right. Fuck it. I think the longest time that I spent editing one of these podcasts was, oh god, what episode was it? It was Leo versus Jason was the topic at some point? Yeah, because the first episode I edited was Sindel versus Black Canary. And the second episode I edited was the longest podcast, which was Leonardo versus Jason. I had to come up with filler for that. So I was just like, oh, what can I put here? Then I found Power Rangers dancing. And I was just like, fuck it, stick with that. Alright, let's go to... Yang would be like, I wish I worked at RT. 2510. Because keep in mind that the intro's like 15 seconds.
Fine as far as the animation goes. Like, it did everything that you'd want it to for a fight. I'd say the coolest moment was all the dragon clones firing together to make the big blast.
I believe I got sent that image as well. You know, I got lucky I edited that review before I edited the podcast. I'm not gonna lie. Because this makes it so much easier on myself. There we go. And that's another timestamp done. 27 minutes.
It's like a fairly highly requested matchup. I wanted it to happen more, but I wanted it to happen more so for the benefit of other people than for myself.
I actually, when I was getting into Death Battle, probably one of the dumbest matchups I came up with. Okay, keep in mind, this is when I was still in 6th form. I wasn't that smart with verse debating.
You know, I'm just gonna say this right now. I don't think Bill is that smart now. Just saying. I mean, he confuses Jason Scott for Jason Todd, and even I know the difference.
I wanted Danny Phantom.
Alright, so let me pull that up. This is the part where he talks about Danny versus a Boo. Habushki. Now, I know he said a regular Boo, but this was the closest I can find. I tell you, though. Can I spell, please? Thank you. Close enough. No, out of this whole time I've been making the podcast and everything, nearly everyone's had an issue, like video-wise or stuff I have to cut out. For example, one of the later episodes of the podcast was Jaru. He forgot to turn his phone off, and he got a phone call. Billy, forgetting the characters' names. He called Gray Fox. I'm surprised. So next is 29 minutes. Because like Jaro brought up a really good point.
Cable versus Booster Gold.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know who Booster Gold was, but after that episode, I love that character, and I'm gonna read every one of his comics because he is fucking lit.
Damn straight.
That's the best thing about Death Battle. When you find
Billy, he's not lit. He's golden.
Awesome, and you just fall in love. That's like my favorite thing about Death Battle.
You're an Obi-Wan fan now.
Look awesome, and you just fall in love. That's like.
Because, like, that's one of the biggest examples of Death Battle making me enjoy character was Guts. I still think that was probably, like, my third favorite episode of Season 2? I want to say that fight was Season 2. There were so many fights in Season 2, okay? Can you blame me for losing track? Alright, music's fine, so we can play it at like 30, 15?
The whole episode's B tier. Which isn't to say that it's bad, and for the people who actually are really invested in this match, it might have been A tier or S tier. You know, like, and that's great. But it was fine. It wasn't for me. The only complaint I have about the fight. Before I forget, the music I didn't really.
All right, so we'll play the music for like a minute or two. That's how I felt with Rainbow Dash. Now there's a throwback. Rainbow Dash versus Pinkie Pie. American Phantom's what we want. Put that there, and then we'll turn it down so that you guys can actually hear people talking. I'll do a quick test. Is that good?
Pay attention to the music, and I never listened to it. But as far as the only thing that could bother me was the random line. That bothered me. Like, you know, it being in the analysis was like, okay, haha.
That'll be good. Like, I will say, Starscream, that's who Rainbow Dash fought. I couldn't remember for a second there. I was just thinking, like, what my favorite episode of season 1 was. Which was, oddly enough, it was Batman versus Spider-Man. And it wasn't because Spider-Man won, actually. It was because the analysis for that episode, which is really funny. Boo. Well, CV Animation, what are you doing here? And how are you? Welcome to the stream. I feel like I know that username from somewhere. Like, I've seen you in Saber King streams before. Nice to see you. Welcome. Oh shit, that's Lewis? Wow. Okay, now I'm speechless. Hi Lewis, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. And yes, I am, as of recently, Richard's editor. So, hello again. I say hello again because you may have seen me as like a mod in this chat, but... Wow, dude, like, I am getting embarrassed right now live during an editing stream at a late time of night because I have one of probably the coolest people I've ever heard of stop by. Like, that is just awesome. I'm doing well, yeah. I had this is just going up and up for me. Like, I don't know what else to say, but dope. Hopefully you are also doing well, Lewis. No, I'll cut this out. We don't really need that. Jody had another review about how I felt about Wonder Woman. Maybe. 3342. This is where Billy was talking about Wonder Woman versus Rogue.
I'm pretty much like that reporter Peter Parker works for, and I just keep firing you and just rehiring you.
Yeah.
That's the J. Jonah Jameson reference that Billy threw in there. Yeah, he didn't know the name of J. Jonah Jameson. J. Jonah Jameson is dope. No other way to put it.
The Woman Death Battle I've ever seen. It made me hate X-Men, made me hate Rogue, and I kind of wish I was one of those people that made spy art of Wonder Woman killing that bitch.
I'll be honest, I did like Wonder Woman versus Rogue. Held for review? Why is that held for review? Show that. Keeping up the grind, I see. Yeah, it's actually the first time I'm showing the Last Discussed Death Battle podcast editing process. I'm doing good, just doing some late night X1 myself. Well, that's cool. For like other projects you're working on. That's pretty dope. Of course, I'm not going to ask about it because, you know, that's your business. But, you know, it's also very cool to see someone else working this late at night, and I'm just not a crazy person. Make it a font that shows up. And then put it in the middle so that people can see it. There we go. And then I forgot. I have to put a JoJo reference like text in here. Yeah, of course I won't say. I'm not gonna ask you about it. I will say though, it's very dope to see you in my chat though. It's very dope. And I appreciate you coming by. But DBX is coming up soon. Oh yeah. I liked DBX last season. I think my favorite episode, besides Diva versus Trombone, was probably Ezio versus, what was his name? The Prince? But out of all the 2D ones, I think Inuyasha versus Blake was one of my favorites because it was so cool to see someone bring Inuyasha back, which is someone my family also enjoyed. Now, here's the thing. Leo was also a fan of Ruby, but when I showed him who Inuyasha was, and he's like, where can I get this anime? I want to see more Inuyasha. Hey, Duo. Good to see you, too. Welcome to the stream. I can't wait for DBX either. I'm really excited to see what characters you guys come up with. Now, where am I going? I got lost. So I'm sitting here.
Fnatic and the history of Death Battle Fanatics, and he's going to be fired once again after this podcast.
I don't know the name of the font they use in JoJo, but good grief, Billy. Every podcast you try to fire Jaru. I don't get it. Again, that was also my favorite, but I also worked on it, so that's probably biased me. I wouldn't say it's biased, really. Because here's the thing, I imagine you're the type of person who will always say that I enjoy all of my works. You know, that's just who I am. It's not really biased, it's a certain character you like working on. At least I don't think. No, I know you meant Inuyasha versus Blake. I mean, because you're normally the 2D hand-drawn expert who made probably one of the best episodes of Season 5 in Samurai Jack versus Afro Samurai. But what do I know? I'm just an idiot. I do know that the font is purple, just like in JoJo most of the time. So make it purple, and then that'll be close. That's what we're trying to get to. Great to see everyone hanging out. Well, like, this is dope. Okay. This might work. Now I know I'm not the world's greatest editor. Not by a long shot. This'll do. And then middle. I might have to actually change the text color to another JoJo color. I mean, I like the yellow because it stands out, so. Oh boy. Well, good to see you, Duo. How's stuff going with all your battle mode? Because I know Android 21. I almost said Android 18 versus Kirby's coming out soon. Hopefully that is going well. You don't like everything I've worked on? Well, that's a fair statement because I imagine it's because of, you know, some things you could have regret doing, you know?
I just want to quickly say this. At this point, I'm pretty much like that reporter Peter Parker works for, and I just keep firing you and just...
Oh crap, my phone's getting low. Hang on one moment. I'm gonna plug my phone in so I can see you guys, but I'll probably just keep looking away every so often. There we go. So hopefully you guys can forgive me. I'm not a professional in the slightest. So, J. Jonah Jameson. I'm gonna spell it to the best of my abilities. And again, how does Bill not know who J. Jonah Jameson is? You know, I kind of